Hey guys, Reese here from Reese Where's My Spoon. Just hanging out with these two turkeys, Freddie and Jesse. The reason why I'm hanging out with them is it's actually Canadian Thanksgiving. And so our family tradition is we always have a pavlova. If you've never had a pavlova, it's a meringue-based dessert that is super easy to make. All you have to do is make the meringue, pop it in the oven, dress it with some berries and some Chantilly cream. So I'll be showing you how to do that today. Since pavlova is meringue based, you're going to take your egg whites, make sure they're at room temperature, and then you're going to whisk it on a low speed until it becomes a soapy, sudsy-like texture. As soon as it becomes a soapy, suds-like texture, I'm just going to show you. Pardon my banana. I was feeding my 10-month-old. What you're going to do is you're going to turn it up to a medium-high to get it to the proper texture to add in your sugar. This is me just realizing that I didn't yet turn it to a medium-high, and so I'm going to end up speeding up the whisk to a medium-high to get it to the right texture. So once it's gone from translucent to a white color, you know that you've now formed some soft peaks. So I'm just going to take a quick peek and look at it. So you can see there it's not really coming off the whisk, which is exactly what you want. So now we're going to add our sugar in 1 teaspoon at a time. And it's your sugar with your baking powder. You do want to mix it together. So we do use granulated sugar. I food process it so that it's a little less grainy because you really don't want to taste that in the pavlova. And I also add the baking powder into that. So I'm just going to speed up the video here because you really don't need to see me feeding Elena in between and also adding in everything 1 teaspoon at a time. So just go ahead and do that until you're done. So once you're done adding your sugar and your baking powder mixture, you are going to add the vanilla extract, and that will change the hue of the meringue. It will become a little darker because the vanilla is brown, so it's not going to be cloud white anymore. Totally fine. And then you're going to check to make sure that it's still remaining a stiff peak, and you're going to keep beating it until it becomes a lot more stiff, meaning it's going to be really, really slow to come off the whisk. You'll see later on in the video. So just keep continuing to whisk. So I'm just going to speed up the next few videos just so you don't have to watch 10 minutes of me whisking the meringue. But as you can see, I continue to check on it, wait on it, check the texture until it is a very, very stiff peak. As you can see, it's almost like a slow motion drop off the whisk. And so the whisk test is when you drop the whisk in, and it should very, very, very slowly come off the whisk. So for extra measure, I like to whisk it just a little bit longer just in case. So that's why I put it back in here. This also was the second time I was making pavlova for the day because the first time it totally flopped because I did not whisk it enough and thought my peaks were fine. It has been a while since I made a pavlova, so yeah, not foolproof for me. So redid it. Again, it's super easy to do. It just sits in the oven for the next 90 minutes after you're done with this. So as you can see, it's like very, very sticky, almost like a marshmallow-like texture, and that's how you know it's ready. So I take the excess meringue that's stuck on the whisk, and I like to glue down my parchment paper. I did use the other side and make a circle just to make sure that I'm staying in a circular shape. And then I dab off the extra meringue here. So now you're just going to put the meringue into the circle, and you're going to begin to form the pavlova. And so usually I do form it in a circle. It's okay if the pavlova looks a bit messy. That's the kind of look that you can go for. But in this instance, I started off making it the way I normally would, which is a complete circle. And then you put like a little crater in between, which is where you fill it with berries and Chantilly cream. I, however, decided to get fancy, and midway I decided to change what I was doing. And so I started to form a pattern in the pavlova, which is super easy. Again, I just started making the pattern and then cleaned it up on the sides. So if you're not going to shape it and you're going to make a traditional pavlova, you can leave the top as messy as you'd like. Just go ahead and form the circular crater in between. So again, pavlova is thicker on the top than it is in the center. That's so it can hold the cream and the berries. And if you are making a pattern, then you're going to want to go ahead and smooth out the sides and the top like you would a cake. And then you're going to form the crater in the middle. And then you're again going to smooth out the top, make the pattern, and then you're going to put it in the oven at 220 Fahrenheit for 90 minutes. That's right. So if you look at my pavlova, you're going to notice at the end of it that there are some cracks in it. I don't mind the cracks. I actually like it. That is because I cooked it at a higher temperature and faster just because of time. But if you want to avoid any of the splits in the pavlova, then you want to go ahead and cook it at 220 for 90 minutes. Now the texture of a pavlova is kind of marshmallow-like. If you've ever had a meringue, it's going to be crispy on the outside, soft on the inside, which is the appeal to a meringue. And then, so you want to make sure that you're not overcooking it. So if you are going to cook it for 90 minutes, and let's say you think your oven is uneven, you can always do a check by cracking a little bit of the center and feeling it. You may want to wait a couple minutes for it to cool before you do that when you're pulling it out of the oven. So definitely recommend doing that because I'm the worrywart and I can do my desserts a million times and every time it'll come out different. So this is what I mean by cracks. You can see that it looks a little bit dry on the outside. It is still completely soft on the inside, which is great. So I cooked it at 350 for 30 minutes and it was completely done. And so what I'm doing here is I'm cracking the center so that I can fill it with my Chantilly cream and my berries. So Chantilly cream is literally just heavy whipping cream and icing powder with some vanilla extract. You whisk that together in your hand or your stand mixer and you have a nice, beautiful cream that you're going to top the pavlova with. So layer your berries, add some whipped cream on top, put some more berries, some more whipped cream. Do as many layers as you want. If I don't have a design on my pavlova, then I go ahead and just put whipped cream all over the top when it's cool, and then I top the whipped cream with berries. So I was just going for a fancy look here because it was Thanksgiving. Sometimes if I'm also trying to add a little more texture to it, I add some shaved chocolate to the top of the berries, just so it looks a little better. But you can design however you like. Hope you enjoy the pavlova. Feel free to share your pictures with me on @Reese Where's My Spoon on Instagram.